Hello everyone, my name is Nagasaikiran Nimakaila. This is Team 1 Deliverable 7 presentation on our project called Dosri. Our team members are Farhan, Samar, Harshal, Kush, Jeff and myself. And for our agenda today, next slide please. Yeah, we will be talking about problem statement, project description, and personas. Then we will be discussing about the MVP technologies we used and design architecture of our website. Then we will be going over sprint recap and improvement made by professor feedback and followed by product backlog and sprint backlog. And then we will be talking about metrics, retrospectives, sprint 7 stories, and the project demo. And the next slide, please. And these are team members with their roles. Next slide, please. Yeah, coming to problem statement. As more investors commit to investing in companies that are socially responsible, these progressive investors struggle to find the metrics that go beyond traditional line items such as traditional performance and expenses. Socially conscious investors struggle to find the metrics that highly business practices that align with their values. Here is the opportunity we plan to capitalize on. Dosri uh, is a free website that provides investors insight about publicly traded companies, social rating based on the environmental, social, and governance standard rating. So those three plans on serving this growing community of investors with thorough analysis of company performances that expand beyond traditional financials, along with quick access to investing in these socially responsible companies. Coming to next slide, please. Coming to project description, Dosri is a free website that provides investors insight about publicly traded companies' social rating based on ESG score and provides investors with latest stock price related articles and third-party brokerages accounts for creating investment accounts if interested in buying the stock. The differentiator with the site is to amplify social responsible investing amongst investors by quickly helping them identify companies that are sustainable, particularly in the three categories, that is environmental, social, governance. And the next slide, please. The next slides will be explained by Mr. Samarth. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Samarth and I will be explaining personas. So here we have Carlos as persona 1, who's a public speaker. Carlos is a 60-year-old wealthy long-term investor that does financial public speaking, runs his own family office, always looking for new tools to make better investment decisions. Carlos likes to research companies and read the latest stories about them to quickly identify their long-term financial positions. How Dosri can help Carlos is Carlos can search various publicly traded companies on Dosri's and review their financials. Dosri also simultaneously provides Google articles related to the searched company for additional insights on performance. And Carlos can search companies on Dosri's to gather metrics to better inform his audience of the top performing ESG companies. Next slide, please. Here in Persona 2, we have Donna, recent graduate. Donna is a 24-year-old recent college graduate that majored in product design, currently making 120K USD, identified as vegan and cares about environment. She sees the value of investing her dispensable money, but she's new to the finance and conscious of companies that are known for conducting unethical practices. Whereas Dosri can help Donna in various ways, such as she can search various publicly traded companies and review their financials, whereas simultaneously they provide Google articles related to the company. And if Donna is ready to make an investment, those three provide quick access links to investment brokerages at real time. Next slide. Third persona, we have Paul here as an investor. Paul is 26-year-old, a recent college graduate, working as an investment advisor at a bank, is aiming to bring more value to himself, to bank, and all the customers. His thinking is not only are investments in socially responsible assets vastly growing, the market shows that this interest seemed to a significant extent from investors trying to align their investment with their social preferences. How does Dosri can help him? Is Dosri can review SRI companies with a sustainable business plan, get more accurate information about the companies, whereas the insights of the companies as well for financial growth. And as Paul completes his review process, Dosri provides quick link to investment brokerages in real time. Next slide. Here we have our MVP, which provides stock price, ESG standard rating, financial reports of companies currently searched, allows user to log in and create password to store historical data, generate latest online news from companies currently searched, and provide quick access to third-party platform investment firms such as Fidelity. And further slides will be explained by Farhan. Thank you.
Hello everyone, hi. My name is Muhammad Farhan. So these are the technologies that we have used to finish this project. HTML and CSS as a front-end technology, Django, Python, Bootstrap, and Python along with the Yahoo Finance API and AWS for cloud deployment of the website. Can we go to next slide, please? This is the architecture for the Dosri application. Here you can see the user will be first redirected to the home page, and from there he can sign up or log in, or also or else he can directly search into the application whichever company he is looking for. Once the user sign ups and logs in, he can also check his previous history. Once the user enters into the search option a company name, he can look the latest news, stock price graph, company ESG score, financials, historical data, and he's gonna see a redirect option through which he can invest in that company. Right now we are redirecting the user to a third-party investing website. Can we go to next slide, please? Okay, for the sprint 6, we have implemented a user login feature, and invest in this company button will redirect user to third party where user can invest into stocks, and PNG formatted graphs can be downloaded to give user access to more stock insights. The sequence of historical data in tabular forms has been changed so the user can view the most recent data first and then the older data later. Next slide. So this is the difference between sprint 6 and sprint 7. In sprint 6, we did the login feature, invest in this company button, the PNG format graphs, and the sequence of historical data. And coming to sprint 7, we have improved the user interface for login and sign up page, added the search history tab for registered users, implemented news headlines section for users to know more about the current scenarios of the company. Next slide. So these were the improvements that we have made from the professor's feedback. We have improved the architecture of the Dosri application. Sprint backlog needs improvement based on the user stories as well, so we have updated it. Product backlogs need to show task only, so we have updated accordingly. Need to add an API screenshots and the website screenshots. Needs traceability in all the sprint test cases. Test cases were updated. Sprint future works need to be in user story format, and no screenshots of Jira have been added so far in the PPT. Next slide. So the product backlog will be explained by Mr. Kush. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Kush, and for product backlog, this is what we had after sprint 6, and we completed out of product backlog. We finished up most of the user stories for the current sprint. Can we go to the next slide, please? So for the current sprint, we completed 3 user stories and 4 to 3 enablers for the user stories. And as you can see, for the current sprint, we were able to finish all the user stories and all the tasks that we committed to. Next slide, please. So this is the first user story for the current sprint. As a user for the role of an investor, our user would like to keep a track on the search history that he previously searched in our website. So for that, the acceptance criteria is given that the investor is already on the website, they can log in or sign up. And once they've searched for a specific company on our website, they can then go to the history tab to see what they previously searched, and then they can be redirected back to the console if they wish to. Next slide. For this user story, in order to provide my client with a beneficial return as an investment advisor, I should be aware about the latest dates of the historical data on the site. So for this user, given that the user is already on the page, the acceptance criteria is if they have once they enter the name in the search box on the console, they will be able to see the historical data and the trend of the historical data below the search box in the historical data tab. And they can also see the last date of the data when it got updated. Next slide, please. For this user wants to be able to learn as much as they can for the company that they are trying to invest in. So for that, the acceptance criteria is given that the user is already on the website, he or she can enter the company name in the search box, and after clicking on submit button, they can see the highlighted links of the headlines for recent news of the company that they've searched for below the search box. Next slide, please. Test cases. Here and on, that will be explained by Jeff.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeff B. I'll be talking about Sprint 7's test cases. So in this sprint, we decided to implement the ability to search for the company's name and also logging that historically. We did testing out that feature. It was a success. We also implemented adding the latest news to the feed. In other words, if you search for a company, the correlated online article for that company will populate. That also was a success. So in other words, once the user searches for the company's stock, they can also see the latest headline and the latest article associated with that company. Last but not least, we also updated our tables to keep log of the latest calendar date, as opposed to just being the last 30 days. There was a limitation with the API, and we were able to make some modifications for that. Again, we had a success with that as well. Next slide, please. Okay, great, thank you. So stories completed. For the 3 different personas that we had, we basically tested out different stories. For example, to keep track of the search history, to check the latest online news as it relates to the articles that I just mentioned. This is basically just kind of like explaining what that user story would look like. Again, we had a success rate with this as well. Next slide, related to the metrics. Okay, great. So for our team velocity, I think it's interesting to call out, we do have 100% this sprint, meaning we were able to complete everything that we committed to. But I do want to call out something. You'll notice that it's only 30, right? As opposed to a sprint 4 where it was like 90. And if you think about the trajectory, that kind of makes sense. Like in the beginning of the project, we had a lot more tasks that needed to be completed. Starting out in the top of this semester, which is sprint 5, it was a slow pickup. We were just getting ourselves reacclimated with the product. We were changing things around. Sprint 6, we had another spike, and then sprint 7, as we complete the project, these tasks were actually high priority, but it was less, so the number is only 30. But just calling it out, that's why it's a little bit lower, in case anyone was wondering. Next slide, please. Okay, now for our burn rate, as you could see, we've pretty much paced well against what we intended to complete. We didn't have much issues. All of this ties back to, I think, where we are as a team. Collectively, you know, everyone has a clear idea what the ask is for them as an individual, and also the timelines and how it impacts everybody else. Overall, our velocity is at 100%. And we were able to accomplish everything on our to-do list. Yeah, so this is our burn rate. Next slide, please. This is just kind of showing the overall ratios again, just kind of showing that story. I think I just walked everyone through how we got here. Next, I'll talk about a retrospective and kind of add context of where we are as an overall team. Okay, so I want to use this time to say, so I want to pick up and say, as a collective, as a team, I think we've grown tremendously. Considering where we started out in the early stages of this project last semester to where we are today, it's night and day. Granted, this is a project that's taking us some time, but however, I think everyone has learned each other's working style. We've also learned what's everyone's schedule. At least 3/4 of the group actually works full time, and we have a full understanding when people are available, when they're not. We do our best to communicate, so that kind of ties into where we are. But again, from last semester, me feeling like this wasn't, you know, going to be a success, but I think with this semester, the way we've all collaborated, learning each other's style, literally becoming agile, we've managed to pull it together, use all of our talents, and ultimately create a successful project. So as far as what went well, again, the team continues to improve on communication and also knowing each other's strengths. What can improve as far as that? Well, we do communicate a lot via WhatsApp and text. So I think possibly using a tool like Slack might be helpful, because there's some added features that we could reference, like documentation, etc. But that hasn't been much of a blocker, so it's not a high priority. Team alignment is another success that we've had as far as confirming what we think is the right product on our roadmap to say by the end of the semester, we feel confident in what we've built. Where we can improve, the backend aspect of AWS is a huge lift. It's a very, very, very difficult platform to learn in a very short period of time while building a full product, right? So that has been a challenge for us. I think the next steps that we all in alignment with is we're all going to take the initiative to individually review the cloud, to get some training on how AWS works and all the different services that they have, from AC3s, RDSs, etc., Lambda functions, just kind of like making sense of all of that stuff. And then ultimately, we want to come back as a team and sit together and just kind of have a collaborative effort to just discuss what we've learned, and hopefully we could migrate that into a learning that we could apply a little bit faster before the next sprint. Another success story, I guess another thing that went well is continuous completion of tasks within the timeline. I guess what can improve with that is getting the team members to understand each other's code a little bit better. That has been, we are building things and it is functional, but we don't always have the time to sit back and reflect on everybody's individual code to say that we all aligned. So I think that's something that we could improve on. And as far as next steps, we do want to dedicate one specific day to just reviewing each other's individual code just for the learning. And that's pretty much it. So from here, I want to pass it over to Harshal, and he'll talk about the future works and what we have installed as the final version of our project. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. So I am Harshal, and I will be talking about future work. As you can see that we are working, like we want to work on these 3 user stories on Xprint, and their priority is medium, high, and medium. The first user story says the user wants to create a wish list for stock she is willing to invest, and we are going to add that feature. Also, the second user story, the user wants to filter only data in between the specified dates, so he can point out the dates he wants to see. So he will get a clear view of the company. And the third user story, we have the user wants to create share his a portfolio to another user, so the another user can also invest and he can better invest in better companies. We have recorded a project demo in a separate video. You can find it in the GitHub link. This is our homepage of our website. Here, user can go to homepage, history tab, and also the user can sign in here. User can also search company here like this, and user can also see latest news about the company which he searched for. And here are the options. Like if user wants to see only price and price graph, then he can click on these 2 options. Or if user wants to see only ESG score, then user can click on ESG score. This is the admin page of our website, and this is history tab of the user. So history is only recorded when user is registered and logged in. This is our API call from in the backend, which when we search a company, it goes to the website, and we get the data in encrypted format, so we have to decrypt it. This is a GitHub link, and thank you.